Hey, this is Tung from TelADVISED Uncensored, brought to you by BroCoolNation.com, and you're listening to the Obsessive Viewer Podcast.
This is Matt Hurt at Obsessive Viewer on Twitter.
And this is Tiny at Obsessive Tiny on the Twitters.
This is Mike, and you can find me at I am Mike White on Twitter.
And this is ObsessiveViewer.com's The Obsessive Viewer Podcast.
Why the sigh?
Because Tiny changed it up a little bit. He put "and" in front of his name and said the Twitters.
Oh, the Twitters.
The Twitters. Let's take it again, guys. I'm kidding. I'm joking.
So I want to start by doing a little bit of shameless self-promotion.
Yes.
My new band, As Good As It Gets, just yesterday, as of this recording, posted our new EP, our first EP. It's called the Something Old EP, and it's got 5 songs on it, and you can download it for free on Bandcamp. The website is asgoodasitgetsband.bandcamp.com. And you can go in for free, name your price. If you want to give us $1 or $100 or $0, it doesn't matter. We appreciate the downloads, so we're super proud of it. We were in a band for a long time. I've said that 100 times on this podcast before. But I think this is we are more proud of this release than we've been for release in a long time. So we really want people to hear it. We're gonna play some shows soon. So please download that. As Good As It Gets. The EP is the Something Old EP.
And the links, of course, are in the show notes and everything. Mike, I listened to it this morning, and it's awesome. As a longtime fan of Thank You, Jade, I was very happy to see new music from you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm glad you like it.
I do have some notes, though.
Sure. Okay.
As I said, I've been writing is the best iteration of that song, because I remember you were sending it to me like when it was just you writing it and doing it yourself.
Yeah, you kind of saw the whole process of that song.
Totally.
You've heard every version.
Yeah, like pre Obsessive Viewer, even the blog, pre that. It's been a few years. Like it was on my iPod, like when I had an iPod, a long time ago.
When people had iPods.
Yeah, and it would just randomly pop up, and I'd be like, oh, awesome, there's Mike. So anyway, so now in this version, I think you should update it, and it's like it starts with I faked life for a while. Ended up alone.
Yeah.
Listening to the Obsessive Viewer podcast.
Oh, you know what? That's in the B-sides version of the album.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we took that take and it just
it was too awesome.
Put it out on the B-sides record.
Yeah. Awesome.
You crashed the website from all of our fans flocking to the Bandcamp website.
Yeah.
All of them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All the fans. But yeah, awesome. Super proud of you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's definitely,
proud of it
definitely
too.
Awesome. And the plan is to have like multiple EPs released soon.
Yep, that's right. We're going to do basically like, and that was kind of the big announcement to go with it. That's like every 3 months we'll have a new EP coming out. We've actually recorded most of the songs for the next EP. It's going to be called the Something New EP. And then we're going to do Something Borrowed, which is going to be a covers EP, which is super exciting, super
That's
fun.
awesome.
Yeah.
I just
and
squeed.
then the last one is going to be Something Blue. And that'll be all new songs, nothing anybody has ever heard before. And so that's super exciting.
Very cool.
It's all
Very
about being
cool.
a bride on your wedding day.
Kinda. It's not really, because brides are blue. I don't know.
Well, no, 'cause the title.
No, it's just we're kind of unofficially calling these the commitment EPs, and it's kind of about, the series is about like where we are now as men. We're both married men, and this one came out close to the anniversary of my wedding, and then the fourth one will come out close to the anniversary of Dustin's wedding, and so it's. And there's kind of a lot of those things. We talked about like where we were as this is an obsessive viewer, by the way. I'm totally ranting. I apologize. We kind of talked about where we were as writers, and a couple of the songs on the Something Old EP, the first one we just put out, are really about the writing process and about where we are as writers and where we are as musicians. I've been writing, Matt, you mentioned, is actually about, I wrote that a couple of weeks after we decided that Thank You, Jade would kind of call it a day. And so that's about that. And then Our Clothes Like Lust is another song on there that we wrote that is on the surface, just kind of a love song about getting back home to someone you're in love with. But it's also like getting back to the writing process. It's Dustin and I kind of figuring out again who we are, as writers and kind of who we are as musicians and kind of what we want to be. So anyway, the whole project is kind of like this rebirth and it's kind of like who we are now. That
is awesome. And like I said, I'm really excited. And
thanks.
Yeah,
it's fun.
Awesome. Like I said, links in the show notes and everything. But as you said, this is the Obsessive Viewer podcast. What are we talking about today, guys? We're talking about stuff.
It is
Shocktober.
Well,
we're still in the midst of Shocktober.
Correct.
As we are recording, we're less than half a month. So we're gonna save kind of our updates, and we're gonna make sure we have time for Potpourri at the end of this episode for sure, because we need to talk about Shocktober at the halfway mark. But we're gonna talk about today. We kind of cycled through a lot of options of what we might talk about, but I think we kind of landed on something that we all agree with, and we wanted to talk about remakes or adaptations we'd like to see happen in horror movies.
Yes, it's called Remake This Horror.
Yeah.
I think that's what I'm going to go with for the title. Yeah.
I like it.
And it leaves us open to do a whole series of Remake This episodes.
Yeah.
So these are just, horror movies. I don't know if you guys know this, but horror movies, a lot of them are pretty crappy.
And then a lot of times they get remade, and those are also crappy.
Exactly. So we are going to give Hollywood a little Shocktober gift and tell them how to remake certain things to make money and to fund our next Shocktober in Irvington thing, which, by the way, if you're listening to this, I hope I get this up before Shocktober in Irvington. But if you're in Indianapolis and it's not October 17th, and it's before October 17th, go to the Irving Theater October 17th at 6 p.m. We're having a screening of Night of the Living Dead, screening of horror short films, costume contest, raffle, all benefiting the Irvington Historical Society.
And your ears.
And your ears, yes. And eyes.
And eyes, yeah. The whole thing, the whole sensory experience.
Very visceral.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You can't touch us, though, so...
Speak for yourself.
Good God.
Yeah. Tiny loves hugs.
I love hugs.
Yes. God damn it. Tiny's a little cuddle monster.
Oh, I hate you right now.
All right, so moving on.
So anyway, who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Cool.
I have... I think this is going to be pretty controversial.
Nice.
Amongst the listeners. I'm going to pick to be remade the movie Dracula or Dracula, based specifically on Bram Stoker's book.
Mm-hmm.
There have been 2 major motion pictures of the actual story, Bram Stoker's story. There have been tons of Dracula movies and TV show series.
Like sexy Draculas.
Right.
Dracula Untold was just released last week.
And actually did okay at the box office.
I think it unseated Gone Girl.
No, it was still number 2.
Oh, never mind. Thank God.
But it still made like $25 million.
Yeah, and I believe it was also PG-13.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which
that
just...
doesn't make any sense.
No, if you're going to do a Dracula movie, don't do that.
Yeah.
So anyway, what's your favorite iteration of Dracula on the screen, Tiny?
I like Twilight with all the sexy Draculas.
Oh, you got me down, Spider Monkey.
God damn it.
There's tons of Draculas in that one.
There are.
Yeah. So I think part of what might make this opinion controversial is the fact that I've never seen the Bela Lugosi Dracula from 1931, which was like the first major motion picture one. Whenever you think of Dracula, Count Dracula, you think of Bela Lugosi. I mean, the guy, that's who you think of. And then there's the other most famous one is 1992's Dracula as well, starring Gary Oldman and Keanu Reeves, Winona Ryder. I don't really like either of them. That's why I want to see it remade.
Nice.
I remember reading the book, Bram Stoker's book, when I was probably like 11 or 12. And a lot of it was over my head, because it's a Victorian era story.
Sure.
It's kind of heavy for an 11-year-old.
Right.
But I remember some of this, like the scenes that played out were truly chilling.
Nice.
And really well done. And I just feel like the 1992 Dracula, did not capture those scenes. Again, I can't speak to the 1931 version, but, film was practically new back then. I mean, film was in its infancy in 1931,
Right.
Especially sound film, talkies, if you will. So I think regardless of how, iconic Bela Lugosi's performance is and how iconic that film is, I think there's nothing wrong with updating something that old. I think it's okay, especially when it comes to horror like this, something based on a previous story. But the 1992 version I have seen a couple times. Gary Oldman is amazing because he's Gary Oldman.
Right.
That guy is just untouchable as far as I'm concerned. But pretty much all of his amazingness is just bled away by Keanu Reeves trying to do a British accent.
Oh no.
It's so bad.
Oh,
Well,
God.
I'm out.
Yeah. I would go so far as to say it's one of the worst miscasts ever.
Wow.
I mean, why? Why would you? You're talking about Bill, or is he Ted in Bill and Ted?
Yeah, he's Ted.
He's
Ted, sure.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Ted Theodore Logan.
There you go. That guy.
Wow.
Playing Victorian British national,
Jesus.
if you will, and like an upper class posh kind of guy. It's bad.
I like Keanu Reeves as a person. I mean, he's
great in certain things.
Yeah, from what I've heard, he's like the nicest person ever. Like there's the he donated like a bunch of money from his from the Matrix sequels that he made, that he was get like his salary from the Matrix sequels to like the crew, like the special effects crew and like the underpaid kind of crew members of the movies.
Wow. What a dick.
I know, right? And he also did that documentary.
Yeah, that was cool.
Side by Side.
Yeah.
About digital versus film.
I liked his approach on that. That was
and
well-made.
he seems just like a really down to earth guy.
Definitely.
Mike, have you watched either of the Dracula movies? The Tiny
No,
Dragons?
no, I haven't seen either of them.
Okay.
Crap, neither have I.
Oh, shoot. Well, darn it.
Yeah, but how would you remake it?
I would stick to the book, which, both of the 1992 one sticks to the book. I assume the 1931 does as well. But I don't know. I would just cast it better.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds bad because we're talking about Gary Oldman here. And like I said, he was amazing. But Keanu Reeves, I just don't care for in this role. I like him in several other things. I mean, Speed, awesome movie. But Winona Ryder is also in it as the female lead. Carrie Elwes is in it. It's just really not cast well for the major roles anyways. I mean, Anthony Hopkins is in it and Gary Oldman are in it, so it's like, oh, this is going to be a good Keanu Reeves, Winona Ryder.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah, and I think those are the two biggest obstacles for me are their performances, because they're such central characters.
Sure.
That it threw off the whole movie for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just mainly how I feel about it.
Do you mind if I do a counter to your remake-ish
Please.
thing? This isn't necessarily a remake thing, and I remember hearing someone talking about it on a podcast. I don't remember who it was. It may have been maybe Jon Favreau on Nerdist, or it might have been like someone like Vin Diesel or someone that you wouldn't expect this from, but they really wanted to make a movie about Vlad the Impaler. And are you guys familiar with Vlad the Impaler?
Yes.
Yeah, he's the basis for Dracula, pretty much.
I think you're thinking of Charlie Hunnam on the Nerdist.
Oh, Charlie Hunnam. That's who I was thinking of. Yeah, but
It was Hunnam.
Hunnam.
I think we've had this conversation before.
Jack's Teller.
Yeah, it
Jack's
was.
Teller.
He was talking about Vlad the Impaler. Man, that was awesome.
It was
that
really
was
cool.
so cool.
Yeah.
But I have Vlad the Impaler's Wikipedia page up if you guys have, if our listeners don't know about him. Just quick quotes. He roasted children whom he fed to their mothers, and he cut off the breasts of women and forced their husbands to eat them. After that, he had them all impaled.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know.
Classic tale.
So that'd be kind of cool.
Well, and see, I would love to see a Vlad the Impaler movie, but Vlad the Impaler and Count Vlad Dracula are two very different things.
But if they meld the two, like have like Vlad the Impaler eventually like have him turn into Dracula at the end, and that would just be it. It'd be like,
I think
Okay,
that's something
okay.
that's you make an interesting concept for sure.
Yeah.
But that's something else altogether. I mean, there's
Right.
no, like, Dracula is not Vlad the Impaler evolved. He's his own thing that just is influenced by Vlad.
right. But if like Bela Lugosi and Gary Oldman, if their movies of Dracula are depictions from the book, and they, I mean, well, you know, obviously the Bela Lugosi one's probably pretty dated, but also, you know, if the Gary Oldman one wasn't that good, you know, maybe they could try something different and meld that way.
You know, I'd almost rather see. I like that idea. That's cool. Seriously.
I may have stolen it from someone on the podcast. I don't know.
Okay. But I would rather see like because Count Dracula's old. He's not young, and so I would like to see like it. I think it'd be kind of cool if you had the Bram Stoker movie come out based on the book, hugely loyal to the book, but after that comes out, hopefully it's really successful. Then you could make a prequel where you could cast someone younger and have them play. You could make a Vlad the Impaler prequel, and in the end, he turns into Dracula.
Okay, like have an established Dracula movie first.
Yeah. And I think the Bram Stoker's book was written in the 19th century sometime in the Victorian era, and Vlad the Impaler's time was more like 17th century, I think, like 1600s. Is that right?
I almost
Maybe
wanna
even
say
earlier than that.
15. I don't know.
Who's that?
Vlad the Impaler.
Vlad?
Yeah, he was 16th or 17th century, I think. I don't know which it is, but you know, he could turn into Dracula, and Dracula is immortal. Right, so he could be, you know, huge time disparity there.
15th century.
15th century, okay, so 1400s. Wow, cool. So yeah, I think that'd be a fun thing to see. I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, Hollywood, get to it.
Yes, please.
Charlie Hunnam, get to it. And if you want to be on the podcast, you know, we'll talk about Undeclared.
Honestly, I don't think I'd cast Charlie Hunnam as Vlad the Impaler. I like him a lot as well.
I want him to fund. He has producer written all over him.
Yeah.
For that project. I like him a lot. I do. I really do.
Okay.
But-
Producer, yeah, that's fine. But I don't think I would want him to play the role.
Right.
I'd rather see like what's Kevin Durand would be an awesome Vlad the
Oh,
Impaler.
nice. There was talk of, side note real quick.
I heard Kevin Durant.
Durand.
Oh, Durand.
Yeah.
Although Kevin Durant certainly has the range to pull that off. Anyway.
Kevin Durand played the Blob in the Wolverine Origins movie.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
He was also in Lost. And
Fruitvale Station.
Fruitvale Station, he was the cop. And he recently he said in an interview, he just kind of spilled the beans. He was like, yeah, they talked to me, the Walking Dead people talked to me about playing some character named Negan. So I don't know. And like,
Oh no.
yeah, and like he was like, he said it so nonchalantly because he doesn't know the comics, and Tiny Negan is a pretty big
Really?
villain character. He's basically like, he's a big villain.
Okay.
And so it was just like, he just said it so nonchalantly, and like the internet kind of exploded, which I think he would be so fantastic. Obviously, they're going to screw up that character on the show.
Yeah. How could they possibly?
Yeah. And,
But I don't want to talk about Walking
yeah,
Dead.
let's not. Yes.
Ooh, wait till
The
later.
The Walking Dead is Halloween to us right now. Off the table. Mike, what's your first remake this movie?
Yeah, my first one is I really like yours, Tiny, because that you could open that up to all kinds of possibilities. Mine is kind of the opposite and very, very specific. I think it would be interesting kind of in the vein of the Platinum Dunes remakes of all the popular slashers that you know from the 80s and 90s. I think it'd be really cool if they made Sleepaway Camp. Did you watch Sleepaway Camp?
You
Matt?
know, I told you in the pod chat today, I'm going to try to watch it as soon as I get home. And 6 minutes, 56 seconds in, I did not expect it to be that just that.
Terrible?
Yeah, I thought it was
awful. Yeah.
I thought it would be a decent, like, kind of like 80s slasher movie. I did not expect it to be that campy.
But 6 minutes in, you turned it off? You didn't even see anybody die
I saw a guy, a boat
in the lake.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And it was just so cheesy. And under a different, I was under a time constraint. I could fit in one movie to watch before we recorded, and I figured I would watch one of the movies that I'm going to talk about. And I really wanted to watch Sleepaway Camp, but it just wasn't what I expected it to be. So,
yeah, it wasn't what I expected it to be either. It's kind of been on my list for a long time, and I finally got around to seeing it, and it is a clear ripoff of Friday the 13th. And Tiny, you texted this in the pod chat a little while ago, and I think you mentioned it on the podcast, just how awful Friday the 13th is.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really terrible movie.
Hate it.
Which is a ripoff of Halloween, which is a good movie. But anyway, so Sleepaway Camp is a clear ripoff of Friday the 13th. And I'm going to spoil it because who cares? It's 30 years old.
Yeah, sure.
It would not have survived if not for the twist at the end. Unless you want me to not spoil it, Matt.
I kind of prefer you didn't. I might watch it. I might watch it.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, that's fine. That's fine. But I think the twist at the end would really, I don't want to say turn on because that's not the sentiment I'm going for.
I'm listening.
It would definitely interest a lot of modern viewers. And you know, Matt, before you kind of explained what you expect from a remake, and you explained how it's kind of a second attempt at a movie that wasn't done right the first time.
Right.
You know, we kind of talked about, like, why would Halloween need to be remade if it was done so perfectly
exactly
at the beginning and got the audience it deserves. But Sleepaway Camp was not. It was done incredibly poorly, clearly.
Yeah.
And also did not receive a whole lot of attention except for the twist ending. And I think people could play with it. I think if it was remade today, in that kind of teen slasher remake vein, Platinum Dunes, you know, like the Platinum Dunes Texas Chainsaw remake, which is very good, I think, and the Friday the 13th remake, which I also think is decent. I think that could be pretty interesting if you get some good looking pretty people in that movie, and you do some new kills. We all know that slashers are my favorite. I said that a year ago,
right.
And I'm always kind of looking for a new in for slasher movies and a new way to kind of bring that back. And it's pretty evident that slashers are dead.
I was just going to ask you about that.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
they're dead. They're gone. It's been taken over by the James Wan. You know, it's a post Saw. I think I mentioned this an episode or two ago. It's a post Saw return to psychological scares and kind of an homage to what came before. And
Right.
I say all the time, horror is cyclical, and I think we're ready for a good slasher or two.
Absolutely.
And Sleepaway Camp, I think, would be an interesting take. I'm not going to say anything as far as what kind of actors or actresses would be good in it because,
well, it's always
just because
it's always populated by young actors, and a lot of it's unknown. So I mean,
well, yeah, of course,
They try to get like 1 star.
yeah.
right.
The cheapest.
Tiny, have you
actors.
seen the movie?
I have not.
No,
I have not.
Have you seen the sequels, Mike?
no, I haven't seen any of the sequels. But the main character, the girl, returns for the sequels. I'll tell you, man, you're really kind of neutering my segment here.
Sorry, man.
That's okay. That's fine. Because the ending is pretty shocking and pretty awesome. It's pretty effective image.
Nice.
It's just the very last shot. It kind of stuck with me. I exclaimed WTF loudly when I saw it for the first time.
I'll have to watch it. For sure.
Yeah, I think you should. Although it's tough to sit through. It doesn't get any better than those first 6 minutes that you were complaining about. So I don't blame you for turning it off in that respect. But
well, I'm of the viewership of people that likes watching trashy, just crappy stuff. And it's just, I think I was just so surprised that it wasn't a straightforward slasher movie. It was pretty horrendous.
Yeah, it is pretty straightforward. It's just a horrible attempt. It just fails on so many levels, really.
Is it worse than Friday the 13th?
Yes,
it is.
Those 6 minutes, absolutely. Dude, it's like it cuts to a girl. I think it's a girl screaming. It's like clear, like first take scenes in those first 6 minutes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
But conceptually, it sounds like it's a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
Conceptually, it sounds like Friday the 13th, but it sounds like it's a good movie.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So it's your first one, Maddie.
Well.
Are you done, Mike? I'm sorry.
Yeah, are you done?
Yeah, I can't really say a whole lot more. Like I said,
sorry.
I think that's okay. Slasher movies are all about the kills, and I think as long as they can get away from that digital blood that I just hate so much,
right.
I think they could do some cool kills and stick that really, really weird ending. I think people might think that's kind of a fun movie.
You've definitely piqued my interest, and I think we will definitely talk about this. We'll talk about it more in depth at the end of Shocktober when we watch it, and when I watch it and we do a wrap-up episode.
Sure.
I'll try to watch it too.
Sweet.
You've piqued my interest as well.
Nice.
Cool.
Nice.
It's bad. I mean,
right.
You're gonna have to marathon through it. It's tough.
Okay. I can do that. It's for the podcast.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna grab another beer real quick. Through the magic of podcast editing, we are back, which defeats the whole purpose of editing it. Anyway.
You know what I thought about the other day? I was listening to, I think Dan Harmon on the Nerdist, and he said something about how they didn't release an episode from before, and kind of went about talking about that story, and then said, I can cut this out if you want. And then I thought about all the things that we don't hear because they cut it out and we'll never know.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet that would be an interesting industry, or like an interesting genre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stuff that's cut out of.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and like this podcast is edited. I edit it quite a bit. Yeah. I edit out some stuff just for streamlining it and stuff. But
yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, so my first movie is, I'm going to decide which one I'm going to pick first. I'm going to go with Final Destination.
Oh.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, I like the movie as a concept quite a bit, actually, because it's just a fun, it's like a slasher movie that's supernatural. It kind of bridges those two things. The fault that comes into it is the sequels, first of all, and kind of oh my god, what is the word I'm looking for? The contraptions, like Rube Goldberg.
Rube Goldberg?
Yeah.
Nice.
The Rube Goldberg kind of death scenes where it's just like okay, if it's a spiritual force that's trying to kill people, don't make it have to put like something down one line thing, roll it down a hill, put it in the one thing. It's like it's like if an entity is playing Mousetrap.
Yeah.
It's goofy.
My favorite one is the dude in the bathtub. Where the clothesline wraps around his neck and he hangs to the.
And that's not the worst one though.
Really?
It's really not.
I just love the part where he stands there and lets it wrap around his neck.
Well, yeah,
it's egregious.
Well, then again, it's a supernatural force that's wrapping it around. It's not like it looks goofy because it's executed poorly.
I'm commenting on the fact that he just stands there. And just
right, but
happen.
I mean, it's like 2 seconds of something, and it's not depicted
really
properly.
bad.
It's not depicted properly because it makes it look like it's just spinning around when it should show that it's being like pulled and forced to do that.
Why are you trying to defend it, bruh?
I'm just saying that that your complaint with it is exactly what's wrong with the movie, is that it's shown just so goofy. It's goofy in its depiction.
I gotcha.
When like I said, it's a spiritual force that's killing these teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, there's some things in the movie that work. The train dodge scene was pretty intense.
Yeah.
I mean, the setup to it is pretty goofy.
The whole opening scene on the plane.
Oh yeah,
that's awesome.
Oh yeah, the premonition is really cool.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that, for the most part, most of them get pretty right.
Mm-hmm.
But the train scene is just really cool. No matter what, that dude from Dawson's Creek,
the gay quarterback.
Yeah, Jack McPhee. Anyway,
I don't want to wait.
I don't know if he was the quarterback or not. He might have been a wide receiver. Anyway, there's a really tasteless gay joke in there somewhere.
Yeah,
there is. Let's get past it.
Anyway, this isn't that podcast, guys. So yeah, there's stuff that works and stuff that doesn't work. I mean, that and then just the whole the goofy detectives that are like so dead set on like, oh, Alex Browning is totally killing these people, and the way that their voices, they're like intentionally trying to be just really intense, and it comes across just all wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So there's stuff to work on, but I think in the conceptually, it's a good movie. It's a good concept because, like I said, it's a slasher movie that bridges the gap between like spiritual and supernatural, or supernatural and physical slasher stuff, which is something that I really appreciate because like last year when we did our What Scares Us thing, my pick was supernatural stuff. Mike's was slasher stuff of a physical person. I think that it's a good way to bridge two audiences of what scares them. The problem is that it came out in the new teen slasher era of movies, so it mostly try to emulate Scream. So I don't know. I think if I were to remake it, I would. First of all, what do you guys think of Final Destination?
I have a few things to say about it. I think it would be very difficult to remake it well, which is not saying much. We're not talking about the merits of remakes. We're just talking about how cool it would be to see some of these movies remade. Because generally speaking, you're hard pressed to find a remake that is as good as or better than the original. I mean, what, like Dawn of the Dead, and then what?
Yeah.
The Thing.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess I kind of gave it that.
Halloween.
Stop it.
Listen to our Halloween franchise episode.
So Final Destination is difficult to remake for a couple reasons. One, like you said, it's post Scream, and it's a reaction to the slasher boom and the re-entry of horror. The thing that's also strange about Final Destination is that it was kind of a vehicle for Devon Sawa. Whereas a lot of these slasher types of movies, and particularly the first ones, are like introductions of these actors. Like Neve Campbell was not very famous before Scream. Drew Barrymore was, and then she died. It wasn't until the sequels that they started bringing stars in to the movies. This is the only time I can think of where the movie was played for Devon Sawa's star that was on the rise. So it'd be difficult to emulate that kind of thing because I feel like a lot of the movie was based around his particular draw, like why people liked him. The other thing is it's been remade 6 times every couple of years.
True.
Are there 6 of them?
I want to say there's only 4 or 5. There's 5 or 6.
The there are 5 of them.
Yeah, yeah, and
Yep.
man,
Because the Final Destination, which was supposed to be the Final Destination,
Right.
made too much money, so they made Final Destination 5.
I'm just really mad that they didn't go with my title for Final Destination 5.
Final Destination.
Final Destination.
Final that's pretty
yeah.
good.
Yeah,
But none of them used the clever title, because of course Final Destination is named because they were going on a plane.
right.
Final Destination.
2 Final,
Anyway.
2 Destination.
So I just feel like, again, we're not talking about the merits.
Mhm.
We're not talking about the qualifications. I guess we're kind of talking about the qualifications.
I'm just
but
saying conceptually.
conceptually, it's interesting.
Yeah.
I'll give you that escaping death and then being killed by death is a really interesting idea.
Mhm.
But I don't think that was the point of Final Destination. The point of Final Destination is gruesome deaths.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. But I think if they could take the idea of escaping death and everything and applying it to a movie that's more about them, I don't know, understanding what's happening.
Yeah.
'Cause, I mean,
Can
you
we
just have
coin this, by the way? Coin that hopefulness,
Final
the
Destination.
Chris Nolan effect?
Oh yeah, the Chris Nolan effect.
Can we call that the Dark Knight effect?
Let's call it the obsessive viewer effect.
I'm not sure what you're talking
Yeah.
about.
Well, I just mean, we've done this before, and I think kids have done this for a long time, just kind of hoping the best for movies, but hoping that movies could take a ridiculous concept like a guy who wears a bat costume and making a really good drama out of
Yeah.
it. And I think
I
that's
see.
what you're kind of hoping for.
That
for
is,
Final
yeah,
Destination, right?
absolutely.
That's the Dark Knight effect.
Right.
Okay.
And we think about that all the time.
Oh, yeah.
What if they made this, but good?
Right.
Like, like the Dark Knight did.
Yeah, I wrote a whole thing for houseofgeekery.com about what it would be like if Chris Nolan rebooted Power Rangers,
yeah.
and I want to see that.
And you
Yeah.
wrote it really well, actually.
Oh, thank you.
Not that you don't normally write things well, but I mean,
Yeah,
that's a topic you wouldn't expect to be written well.
For sure.
But-
For sure. And to my point, I was kind of talking to a friend at work just about how I was going through the Blu-ray, the Halloween Blu-rays, and I said to him that I came up on Rob Zombie's Halloween and how they were done and how there's plans to make a third one. And he said, "Would you want Rob Zombie to do it?" And I was like, "No." And he was like, "Well, what do you want the next Halloween movie to be?" He said, "Would you like it to be?" And I said, "I don't know, like a really good trilogy I think would be pretty cool." And he's like, "That's kind of weird because don't you like, for a slasher movie, episodic types of things?" I mean, and I said, "Yeah, I guess that's true." But then Chris Nolan came along and showed us that's not actually what we want from a story. We want a well-crafted trilogy. And so I guess I'm just saying, I feel like you're hoping for a Chris Nolan effect with your Final Destination remake.
Yeah. And to your point about Devin Sawa, first of all, as a kid, when I loved Little Giants growing up, and I always pronounced it Devon for the longest time. Yeah.
I remember
So,
that.
Oh yeah.
Because I remember when we watched Twister once, and this was
No, it was Night of the Twisters.
Night of the Twisters.
That's
The
that night.
Canadian
Yeah, that's right.
made-for-TV
Yeah,
movie.
I remember when we watched that. It was like 6 years ago, probably.
Yeah.
You said Devon Saw. I was like, why are you saying his name so weird? So you were like a man.
Oh yeah.
You were like 23.
Devon Sawa.
Devon's. I was like,
Kind of
oh,
like Charlie Hunnam.
Right. But to your point,
but
Mike,
Hanam's a weird surname. I'm
sure,
talking about-
sure. But anyway, to your point, Mike, about Devon Sawa, I can't even of Little Giant being his vehicle for that. Final Destination being a vehicle for him.
Little Giants was a Rick Moranis.
Right. But they basically, what they did they didn't pull like nothing actors for slasher movies in the late 90s. They pulled like TV actors. Like Nev Campbell had Party of Five. Jennifer Love Hewitt had
Party of Five.
Party of Five.
Yeah.
They basically made
I guess you're right.
Which Jennifer Love Hewitt had. I know what she did last summer. But anyway, that was my counter to that. But anyway, we should move on because Final Destination is because we might
It's
die.
not that important.
It's
I'm not sure I want to see it remade
Really?
because I like the movie. I really do.
Yeah.
I watched it recently. I actually hate it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think it's just the worst. This demands a remake here, right here, because the writing is so awful. The opening scene, he's looking through his luggage and he's getting stuff packed for his first trip, and then the dad walks in, and then it's like the most exposition line of dialogue I've ever heard in my life. He's like, "So, 17, like you're about to graduate high school, going to Paris for a senior trip with your friends in the springtime." It's like just a progression of all that.
It's like bullet points.
Yes, I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, really? That's like the first line of the movie.
Oh, that's funny.
It's so horrible.
Interesting.
So yeah, if they could remake it and just omit that, then I'd be fine. Yeah. Tiny, what's your next
problem?
One? Yeah, exactly.
Right.
10 days in the springtime.
My next one is Stephen King's It, which was actually a television series, miniseries, which I believe aired on network. I think it was like
NBC.
Yeah, NBC.
Or maybe ABC.
ABC, something like that.
Or maybe CBS. Or Fox. Go ahead. I'm so sorry, dude.
So I don't remember how many episodes it was. Like when you get it now, if you get it on DVD, they kind of just melded all the episodes together, and it's like a movie. Mm-hmm. It's not good. It's really not good. The biggest star in it is John Ritter.
That's right.
Which.
Are you discounting John Ritter's star?
No. I'm saying.
Hey, what's up, bro?
No, I'm not discounting it. I like John Ritter. Don't get me wrong. Okay. I'm not, but I'm just saying, like, that's the biggest star in it is John. Like, there's no one else of note in the movie, really. Well, other than Tim Curry. Tim Curry, of course.
Right.
But yeah, I guess I should have said that. But he's the villain, you know.
And Jonathan Brandis, remember him?
Oh yeah.
No.
He's the guy that died. He was in Ladybugs, Sequest, Neverending Story.
Wow.
I really only know him from Ladybugs, the Rodney Dangerfield movie.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I don't remember him.
Oh.
Anyway, you're right. He's not that important.
Right.
Okay.
Please continue.
Rest in peace, though, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, he's not that important. Dead guy.
It's Mustafa Akkad all over again.
Yeah.
Well, this is a dark Shocktober here.
It really
That's
is.
me. That's me.
So Tiny.
Yes.
It. I haven't read the book. I'm a huge Stephen King fan. I haven't read the book. I haven't seen the miniseries in a long time, since 5th grade.
Yeah.
So go nuts.
Yeah, I have not read the book either, which is kind of shameful. The reason I have not tackled it is because I remember my brother's description of it, like right when I was getting into Stephen King. He was like, "It's so long," because it's like a 1,000-page book, and he was saying like, "There's all these intertwining stories, and there's a huge time jump." And I was like 12. I was like, "I'll save that for later." So I think it just kind of tainted my desire to read the book. But I know a lot about it because one thing that Stephen King likes to do is intertwine his different universes, and 'cause, you know, probably 80% of his books take place in Maine. So you know their characters are destined to cross paths, and it's a great feature. I like that he does that. And so through that process, I've kind of gotten to know some of the characters in the book, because the other characters in his other books have bumped into them. And just,
by the way, Matt,
Yes.
really quick trivia. I apologize.
Oh, okay.
Who directed it? Do you remember?
No, but I've got
Tommy Lee Wallace.
Did he really?
Halloween 3, yeah.
No way.
oh,
Yeah.
no wonder it sucks.
That's amazing. I'm gonna have to revisit it.
By the way, it was a 2-part television movie in 1990, and it aired on ABC.
ABC.
Nice.
Okay.
When I have a doozy for talking about the remake in the chamber, so proceed, Tiny.
Okay.
Yeah.
Threw me off so bad.
I know. I apologize.
Damn it, Mike.
I'm the worst.
Yeah, I feel like I know these characters to an extent, and I feel like I know what the heart of this story is, we've said it 12,000 times on this podcast. Stephen King stories are about characters.
Yes.
The plot takes a back seat and all that stuff takes a back seat. It's about the characters. And so these characters focus on their friendship and essentially their love for each other as best friends throughout their childhood and getting through this one of the most disturbing crises I can imagine. They get through it together and then they come back together as adults having thought they were past this horrible thing, but then it just comes back and it's trying to haunt them again and kill them again. And it's just about processing all of that. That's really what this story feels like it's about, and that just sounds amazing to me. And having seen the movie, I feel like that was dropped from this story for the most part. There's some of that. The actors are trying their darndest, but I think a lot of them just aren't that great of actors. And I don't think the script was up to snuff of a Stephen King level story. The dialogue especially, which is hard to do because he's so great. So I think if again, Stephen King stories work in adaptation form when you make them for TV or for movies. They work when you stick to the story and you focus on the characters. That's what makes them work. There are rare exceptions, but that's what makes his stories work. And I feel like this series didn't quite have that. I will give it credit for Pennywise, the clown.
Yeah.
He's horrifying.
Terrifying. Yeah.
What is his catchphrase? Or is
we all float down here?
Yeah.
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 Because he lives in the sewer system of Derry, Maine. But yeah, Tim Curry he's iconic in that role. Absolutely. So I give him and the story or this version of the story, credit for that. But that's just about the only credit you can really give it, in my opinion. So I would love to see them stick to the story and make a really good quality movie.
Yeah. And I said I had a doozy about the remake, but I looked at the news and it's been in production since like 2009.
Oh, jeez.
But the person that's attached to direct it,
yeah,
and to co-write it
yeah.
is
yeah,
Cary Fukunaga.
Oh, from True Detective.
From True Detective.
Ooh,
yeah,
Daddy likes that.
Oh yeah, so we'll see. I mean,
that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. I wonder, does he want to do is it supposed to be a movie or TV?
2 movies.
2 movies.
Yeah.
Wow. I need to read the book.
And so do I. Oh my God, so do I. Can we do a Stephen King episode,
Man,
guys?
you have something unprecedented for Stephen King, Matt.
Oh, me?
I mean, you get sexual in your reaction.
I really, it's so
God,
weird.
yes. I'm gonna read that. Like, I don't hear you get that type of excited for anything else.
This is my level.
Oh yeah, that Chris Nolan movie is going to be pretty cool. Yeah, winning $1 million, that'd be pretty sweet. Oh God, Stephen King, yes.
I'm not going to deny it at all. This is my level to which I love Stephen King, and why everyone knows that I love Stephen King is that this is our 7th episode of the podcast, and I had one of our listeners DM me on Twitter to ask me for Stephen King book recommendations, and I thought that was awesome.
What was your answer? All of them?
I blew up her inbox. If
she regrets sending the message.
Yeah. And speaking of it and Stephen King, the movie, oh crap, what is that movie? The Josh Boone movie.
Josh Boone.
Is that his name? Who did, he adapted The Fault in Our Stars. The one he did before with, Greg Kinnear and Nat Wolff.
Oh,
Kristen Bell.
Gosh, what is that movie
The Family
called?
of Writers.
Yeah.
Something with love in the title.
No idea.
Oh man, what was that called?
I know.
That's a good movie.
Oh, it's a great movie. I'm gonna look it up real quick.
Man, that was a good movie.
Something.
And Stephen King is in it.
Yeah, he does
his
a
voice makes a cameo.
And the funny thing is that Josh Boone is a huge Stephen King fan.
Right.
As huge as you?
Oh yeah, like in and Out
of Love?
Stuck in Love.
Stuck in Love.
Stuck in Love. He wrote like Nat Wolff's character as being obsessed with Stephen King.
Yeah.
And having just a profound infatuation with Infatuation. I'm all over the place. Sorry, Uncle Stevie.
All the blood is rushed out of your head to other places.
God damn it, Tiny. Anyway, I do not have sexual feelings for Stephen King. Okay?
Mike started it. We don't believe you.
Anyway, Stuck in Love. Josh Boone wrote and directed it, I believe. Yeah, and he basically Nat Wolff's character is like obsessed with Stephen King, and he goes on this spiel to the girl that he wants to date and everything about it and how it is like a profound piece of literature. I can't remember exactly what he said, but he talks about how it's like the quintessential coming of age story and stuff like that. And it's like just the passion to which he says it. And I have a point with all of this. The passion to which he says it is just so like that's a Stephen King fan talking.
Yeah.
Like that's pure and simple. And what's great about it is that Josh Boone, after the success of The Fault in Our Stars, he is remaking The Stand.
Yeah, he is.
Which is like arguably Stephen King's greatest work, pretty much, at least literarily speaking.
I would say very arguably.
Yeah, well, it's the fan base mostly agrees that it is his best work.
Right.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. That's fair.
Yeah, and he's like that's the kind of person who needs to make this movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, it would be great to remake. I need to see it again and read it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So up next is
it's me. I think it needs a remake too. And what was I going to say about it? I just remember watching it when I was a kid, not in 1990, but maybe shortly after. And it keeping me up all night, it was very scary, and I did not like it at all.
Yeah, I'm not even particularly scared of clowns.
Yeah,
I get why people are, but it doesn't really scare me. Yeah.
So my movie, I kind of tossed around a few, and I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do here. I thought this would be a lot easier than it actually is to come up with a movie, a good one that should be remade, because all of my favorites have been remade. And then so I thought, well, what about Scream? The interesting thing about Scream is that Scream 4 works both as a remake and a sequel. And so do I have to go into depth about that, about what I mean?
What did you call it? A sequel?
A remake-will?
A remake-will.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
Copyright Mike White.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Care of Obsessive Viewer.
Just so if I get a quarter off of it, you get a nickel.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I said no to Scream because that's already been done. And then I thought about a movie like the Blair Witch Project, but that also wouldn't work, because if you took the Blair Witch Project and gave it, because it's a very dated movie, and if you gave it kind of a modern polish, it would essentially be a Paranormal Activity movie. So I said no to that one. And then the last one I thought was, well, what if they did Rosemary's Baby? And then I remembered they just did. So that kind of sucks. And that leads me to the only thing left, I think, would be, and it doesn't need to be remade because it was so successful, as The Exorcist. I just see that one likely being redone. It was so damn effective when it came out and so influential to horror. I just think that it could effectively terrorize a new generation of people. The same thing in the past. I don't know. You would have to trim it just because audiences can't sit through a horror movie for that long, but the same fears that are present in that movie are present now, maybe even more so. And I think you could make an interesting remake of The Exorcist.
I'll agree that it was highly effective and everything, but it has been emulated so much to the point that exorcism movies are completely just oversat. The market.
They're B movies now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And they come out all the time. So it'll be hard to remake a movie that was so influential to a huge influx of movies that we've experienced for decades. Even more, I would argue that exorcism movies are even more cyclical than slasher movies.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, it's all cyclical. I'm not saying slasher movies are cyclical. I'm saying horror is cyclical, and Exorcism had its turn again for a little while.
It did, yeah.
Right, that's true. But I would say that it had its turn longer than slashers did, from my perspective on it. Because it seems like so many come out, so many. So it'll be. I'm just saying that it would be hard to remake it and have it be as effective as the original without seeming like it is a downgrade from the subgenre, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. There have been some good entries in the subgenre though. With
sure.
Exorcism of Emily Rose.
Still haven't seen it.
Yeah.
It is good. The Last Exorcism is great.
Yeah, it is.
I think.
Still haven't seen it.
I kind of had to, if I'm going to be honest with you, I kind of settled for The Exorcist because I thought of all of my favorites, and I was even like, well, what about The Town That Dreaded Sundown? Turns out they're remaking it.
Right.
It's just, there's so many. There's so many that have already been remade. The Thing, well, it got remade again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Ineffectively.
Yeah. I got to disagree with you a little bit on this, Mike, because I haven't seen The Exorcist in quite a while.
Playing at midnight at Keystone Art in like a week or so.
Nice. Thanks for trying to force me on that again.
Oh, no, it's fine.
Force
You're
that
going.
on me again. But I really liked it the first time I saw it, and the second time I saw it, I liked it a lot. I think it holds up really well, actually.
Yeah, I do too. I kind of have to clarify. I'm really settling for this one.
Right.
I'm kind of running out of what else to say. I don't think it needs to be remade. I guess what I'm saying is I can see it being remade.
It could be remade really well.
If I can defend myself in any way, it's that I could see it being remade.
Right.
That's fair. Yeah.
And to your credit, I'm surprised it hasn't been remade. I really am.
True.
Yeah, me too. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
So, is it me now? Or is it you, Tiny?
I think I was the last one.
Me?
I think that's it.
Yep. You're gonna have the last one? No.
Oh, I'm the last one total.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. I'll make this quick. Urban Legend. 1998. I watched it today. Man, this movie needs to be remade or die quietly.
I think it has.
It has. It's highly forgettable. It's so weird to me to think about how shocking it is that a movie that leaves so little an impression actually had direct-to-DVD sequels. Like, that's the level to which the original Urban Legend just doesn't really register with me. And it's a shame because as a concept, it's pretty... I almost said inventive, and I had to stop myself. It's unique as a concept. Somewhat. Basically the premise is it's Scream at a university where the killer is obsessed with urban legends and contemporary folklore instead of scary movies. That's essentially it. It patterns the kills after urban legends, like the whole the call's coming from inside the house, or the
person in the backseat of a car.
Person in the backseat of the car, the boyfriend hanging above the car and scratching the hood, just stuff like that. And it's I like the concept because those kind of stories, there's so many stories and so many, those are campfire tales. Those are stories designed to scare you. And what Urban Legend did was it just packaged it in a Scream ripoff. It was 2 years after Scream came out, 1 year after Scream 2 came out, or maybe the same year as Scream 2. Again, it had a bunch of like TV actors. Joshua Jackson with blonde hair that's really horrible. Come on, Pacey. And it's just
I don't want to wait.
they play that song in the movie.
Do they really?
Yes, he's starting the car because they're going to the makeout spot where horror is going to befall them. And he's struggling to start the car, and then the radio turns on as he comes on, and it's the song.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, come on," or whatever. And the main girl's
kind of funny.
Yeah, she kind of smirks a little bit. It's like, this is 1998. It's really goofy. The killer, I won't spoil it because I didn't let Mike spoil his, but the killer, when it's revealed, suddenly just goes completely over the top. And the motive for the killing and for the death spree is so stupid, and it's so teenage stuff, so stupid, like faulty logic in terms of the killer's main thing. I can't speak badly enough about it, and I was so excited about it because those kinds of stories, everyone knows them. Everyone swears by them and all that, and it's a fun premise.
They've existed they've lasted for a reason.
Yeah.
Throughout the decades or whatever, those stories have lasted because if you tell them properly, they're perfectly effective.
Right. Oh yeah.
Right.
And I didn't have time to research this, but I think that there was a movie that I remember. I don't remember what it was. I think it may have just been called Campfire Tales. But I think it was like kind of a movie version of a movie, not adult version, but grown up version of R-rated version of wow, what is the Nickelodeon show? Oh my God, Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Oh, okay.
Where they just told those kinds of stories. So I think if they didn't necessarily do that, but if they remade Urban Legend and had a serial killer who patterned themselves after urban legends, then it could work out okay. Jared Leto is in the movie, by the way. He plays a journalist, like a hotshot journalism major who's writing for the paper, and he embodies pretty much everything. That's the reason why I didn't really pursue a degree in journalism. He was like after one kill, like the movie opens with a kill of the person in the back of the car killing the person at at a different place, like a different area, nowhere near campus. It's not a campus thing. It's a desolate road. The killer kills the person, and then the next day, Jared Leto has this front page article in the newspaper saying "lunatic on campus" because one student was killed off campus.
Wow.
Yeah, it's so stupid, and it's so messy. And it could have been handled better, I think. Yeah, so I don't know.
You qualifying it as forgettable is perfect because I don't remember it. Right. I know I saw it. I remember nothing about it.
Yeah. It's really forgettable. There's even a scene where they do the calls coming from inside the house, which they made a movie about that. The caller, I can't remember.
When a Stranger Calls.
When a Stranger Calls. They made a movie about that, but anyway.
And then remade it in 2005.
Yeah. So anyway, they have a scene where it's basically, oh man, I swear to God, I don't know if this is it. I just watched it today and it's that forgettable. But Michael Rosenbaum, Lex Luthor from Smallville, he answers the phone at a party and he's drunk, and the killer's like, "What's your favorite urban legend?"
Really?
I think that's what he said.
Oof.
And it's so dumb. It's such a Scream ripoff.
That is cheap.
Ugh. So yeah, that needs to be remade or just continue being dead. I think one of the direct-to-DVD sequels was about a a film student making a movie, and I think making the movie killing people as part of making the movie or something like that. Maybe there's something there for a remake. But as is, it's. I'm sad that I squandered a Shocktober viewing on that. Not even good for nostalgia.
Well, we're running low on time, so you guys want to scoot things over to Potpourri?
Yes, we put the kitty litter in outside of the studio, and now we're ready to freshen things up with Potpourri. It's been so long since we made that transition.
Yeah,
it has. How do we do this?
Let's fart. I'm kidding.
Hi, I'm Matt Quiet, and I'm from Nerds Domain, and you're listening to the Obsessive Viewer Podcast.
Yeah, so this is the part of the episode where we just basically talk about anything we want, as long as it smells good, and we basically anything that we're into, anything that we're watching, anything that we want to talk about, news related. It's all fair game here. So who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Cool.
This is tough because I have all kinds of things that I'd like to talk about. So I'll try to keep it short, I guess. Last week we saw Gone Girl.
Oh, nice. What did you think of it? Tiny
I really loved it a lot.
Nice. Tiny hasn't read or seen it, so no spoilers.
Okay.
Yeah. Can
so
you believe that?
I mean, yeah, it's so twisty and so spoiler heavy that you can't really say a whole lot about it. I don't know how people keep writing all these reviews about it because it's just not. Nobody has written. You did a good job.
Oh, thank you.
Your review was good.
Just saying.
Nobody. It's so built around the twists that it's really, really difficult to write an effective review and kind of encapsulate the whole sentiment of the thing. So because it's so new and Tiny, you haven't seen it. I'll just kind of leave it brief and say that I really, really loved it a lot. As always, I think the book is better. Yeah. I could give a bunch of reasons why, but I won't. My only complaint, and I think, Matt, I think you said something about this in your review, is that the ending is not as different as the media said it was going to be. Mm-hmm. In fact, it's just about word for word the same. Just shorter.
I would disagree with that.
No, I'm not going to let you. It's the same. The sentiment is exactly the same. It's just shorter. It's just the movie version of the exact ending of the book.
It's not.
It is 100% the same thing.
Unless I missed something, which is possible because I was kind of tired. But the last page of the last like line of dialogue in the book is absent in the movie. The basic idea of it, the basic idea of it is represented, but it's a reversal.
I don't think it's a reversal at all.
Really?
Yeah, I don't see what's so reversed about it.
We'll have to have a longer discussion about this, man.
I think we will. I think the movie is very much like the book.
Huh. Well, they still omitted a couple of things from
They omitted lines, yeah.
Yeah, from the end, like motivation for some character actions that didn't.
I would disagree with that too.
We're gonna have to have a long talk about this
because I kind of feel strongly about this.
Okay,
I think it was very, very similar.
Okay,
and I noticed in your review that. Did you not like the ending to the book?
Oh,
I don't remember what you said.
At first I was like, is that it? And then it sat with me, and I was like, that's pretty much the perfect way to end the story with.
It's the only way you could, yeah.
Absolutely. And they omitted it in the movie.
No, they didn't. It's the same.
I'll have to be the tiebreaker.
Yeah. Tiny, go read it and see
you're
it.
You're gonna have to see it. The other thing I will say is, I'm really having a blast listening to the commentaries on the Halloween Blu-rays. I'm kind of summing up quickly my Shocktober. I've really enjoyed the Halloween Blu-rays. I watched just recently the Halloween 2007 director's cut and the theatrical cut at the same time, simultaneously, to just kind of get the differences.
Cool.
And I really did I describe this already?
No.
Okay. I have a lot of same conversations. I apologize. But I saved the best stuff for the podcast.
Nice.
So, I really don't like the director's cut of Halloween, specifically because of the rape scene. It kind of takes a whole lot of the meaning for Michael's escape. It takes a lot of the gravity out of that escape, and it really bugs me. It kind of lends to my argument against Rob Zombie in that he has this particular vision that is not doesn't pay enough homage to the original, and he kind of as much as he says he's a fan of the original, he kind of puts up a middle finger to it often. And I think the rape scene, which is totally against character, and against tone and against theme for the whole Michael Myers mythos. It's go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it's very much against the feel of the franchise as a whole. Just because in the fifth movie they actually have a sex scene where they actually use a condom.
Yeah,
it's like they go through the trouble of showing that they're using a condom. Like he takes a condom out and stuff, and it's like this is a slasher movie, guys.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. But anyway, I guess I'm being super vague and I need to explain. So in the theatrical cut, in both movies, basically Loomis, after 15 years of visiting Michael Myers, says he's going to stop visiting him, and then he goes away. And in the theatrical cut, they are moving Michael from one room to another, from one cell to another, and he decides that today is the day he's going to escape. And so it's basically like the last person who he had any connection to has left him, so it's time. He's going to go on another killing spree, and he's going to go find his sister, and he's going to find possibly the only person in the world who might be able to sympathize with him, and so he escapes, and just by chance, and by him saying I'm going to destroy these people, he escapes. In the director's cut, a couple of the hillbilly guards take one of the mental patients from one cell, bring her into Michael Myers' cell, and rape her, and then Michael gets angry, vengeful, kills them, and then escapes. First of all, that shows that he cares for somebody, which is ridiculous, because in the very next scene it goes against that when he kills Ishmael. And the other thing is that in that version, which is the canon version, right, because Malcolm McDowell's Sam Loomis lives at the end of this and he's in the sequel. Anyway, I digress. It gives him a purpose to leave. If they hadn't come into his cell, he would have had no way to escape that night. And it's just ridiculous, and I hate it.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
You've made a good case.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I'm
You guys?
still making my way through it.
I have not seen the director's cut. Yeah. All right.
Nice. Tiny, what's your potpourri?
My potpourri is also a double hitter.
Nice.
Baseball term. Is that a baseball? I don't know.
I went to a baseball game
A double
once,
hitter? I don't think so.
and I think
There's
so.
a double and a no-hitter.
You're batting 1,000 here.
Wow. It's a double header. There we go. That's what I meant to say. A double header.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, double header. It's where you get.
First up, in our essential Shocktober episode, we gave predictions or whatever about what we wanted to do for this specific Shocktober this year, what we had planned to watch. And I said I was planning to make my way through excuse me, to make my way through the Friday the 13th franchise. I wanted to watch all the movies.
Yes.
And I realized the other day, oh my gosh, it's already the 10th. I need to start doing this.
Exactly.
And so I have started. I think I said in that episode I'm not going to watch the first one because I've seen it 3 times total in my life and I never want to watch it again. I hate that movie. So I started with part 2, which is essentially the same movie. Maybe just the tiniest modicum better quality, but that's even saying too much, I think. So part 2 is pretty terrible again. But part 3, the first half kind of drags a lot, kind of like the first 2 movies. But the women look better, and some of the characters actually have a little bit of personality instead of just saying lines back and forth to each other. They're annoying. There's a really annoying character, but at least he has some. He's a person. He's not just a talking head. So that kind of kept me going. And then I think the second half of the movie just really took off for me. Essentially, once Jason puts on the mask, the hockey mask that's become iconic, and starts killing people, that is good. Like, there's a couple kills before that, but they're really quick. Like, he just kind of kills one of the towny guys with a garrote up against a tree, and it's just like real quick, and it's like, what? That's the kill? Ugh. But
that sounds kind of. What do you mean by garrote?
A garrote.
Garrote wire.
Garrote wire. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And it was just boring. He just killed. Yeah, so that was boring. But then when he puts the mask on, the hockey mask, he harpoons a chick through the eye. Like, that's awesome.
I'm kidding. That's awesome.
And it looked like all like cheesy 80s 3D kind of attempt at 3D effects, sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah. And later on he crushes a guy's head and his eye pops out towards the screen.
That's awesome.
This was the 3D.
That's what I was going to say.
I figured it was watching it. So yeah, I actually liked the second half quite a bit. And it has me. It's going to be good. I'm going to ride that momentum into the fourth one, which I know Mike has said is probably the best in the franchise.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's good. It's a fun movie to watch.
Nice.
I'm going to watch that just as a standalone movie.
Cool.
Yes.
I've never seen it, so yeah.
Nice.
So
I've never seen it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully
Nice.
this week I'll watch it.
Sweet.
Maybe tomorrow. And then second thing, just real quick. Sorry, Mike. The Walking Dead premiere.
You don't have to apologize. That's you can. However, you did contribute to the first time it beat Sunday Night Football.
I did.
Yeah.
Although I DVR'd it, but still.
Yeah.
Yeah, what did it have? Like 17.8 million?
It was the biggest episode they've ever had.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah.
But I really liked it a lot.
Really?
Really liked it a lot. Man, the opening scene before the credits, it's one of the more disturbing things I've ever seen. Seriously. I was nauseous, and just my jaw dropped, and it was just, I don't know. That was such an effective scene.
When Rick is knocked out and he's kind of waking up, and you hear the saw, I think it is.
Yeah.
That was creepy, and you see his blurred vision.
Yeah.
So cool. And just like you said, the trough scene.
Yeah, there's just, oh man, just the attitudes,
Yeah.
the nonchalance of these horrible people.
And you pointed out, I'm so embarrassed I didn't pick up on this, but kind of an allegory, I guess, for Nazis.
Yeah, there were a lot of parallels between these people who live in Terminus and the Nazis. Because there's a scene where, first of all, they store people in train cars. Mm-hmm. So there was that. And then
it's been like almost a year since the finale, and I should have picked up on that too.
Yeah. And then there was a scene where they show all these tables, and they just have all their belongings that have been sorted. Like, one table's all weapons, one table's all jewelry, one table's all clothing, toys. And it just reminded me when I was in Auschwitz and I saw all the luggage stacked up and all the eyeglasses stacked up. It just made me think of that. And the fact that they're just emotionlessly perpetrating a genocide, or just emotionlessly killing people. Yeah. That it kind of stuck out to me.
Yeah.
So,
I watched it too.
Yeah.
I liked it. I didn't love it. Just because, spoiler alert, everyone, but like we said, millions of people watched it. Yeah. Mike, you don't mind if we spoil it?
Please.
Okay. They spent the last half of last season building toward Terminus.
Yeah.
And I fully expected it to be a, like, at least 4 episode stint in Terminus. Mm-hmm. And that it would be, they implied at the end of the finale that they're cannibals, and they more or less showed us, they're cannibals pretty much.
Yeah.
But they never explicitly said it.
Yeah.
And that bothered me a little bit.
They definitely could have drug it out. that show has trouble finding the sweet spot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Either it's Herschel's Farm that was just drug out ridiculously, or it's like this Terminus, which is essentially like almost like 2 episodes.
Yeah, it's almost like they were like, well, we spent a lot of time on Herschel's Farm and they gave us crap for it, so we shouldn't spend that much time at this really fascinating place and just get it over with soon. Yeah. So that bugged me, and then just the fact that they didn't really say anything about it. And it's the Terminus isn't in the comics, but the cannibals are.
Okay.
And I had such high hopes for something that they do that there's no way that they were going to do this. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they're going to, I doubt that they'll do it, later, but all I kept thinking while I was reading the comics, which I reviewed on Obsessive Book Nerd, links in the show notes, was that in the comics, Rick loses his arm. Mm-hmm. The governor chops it off early in the comics. Yeah. Now on the Nerdist podcast when Robert Kirkman was on it, he was saying like, I really wrote myself in a corner with this.
I remember that.
But when they get to the cannibals, there's a scene in the comics. I won't
spoil it. It's fine.
Yeah. A character wakes up with his leg gone. Oh, wow. And the characters are, the cannibals took off the leg and are eating it.
Wow.
And all I thought was, how sick and amazing would it be if Rick wakes up and his arm is gone and they're eating his arm?
Huh. Yeah, that would have been cool.
Won't happen.
It won't. It's the same as like Lori, when Lori was alive in season whatever. I wanted
as
her,
much as people think the show is a risk taker, it's not.
It's really not. It's really, really not.
No.
In my other main complaint, and I'll go on to my potpourri after this, is that the season premiere felt like the season finale. It felt like it felt like last season should have ended with that episode, with them reuniting and everything, and then going on to the next thing. With this, it's basically they meet at Terminus. They have a short stint in Terminus, and then they're off, and they're going to presumably the Fear the Hunters arc from the comics.
So your only issue with it is just the timing.
Yeah, I wish that there was more time spent at Terminus, more exploration of it. Mm-hmm.
And having said that, I think I would have liked one more episode of Terminus.
Yeah,
I think 3 episodes would have been a good sweet spot to hit.
Sure.
Yeah.
Or 4. Anyway, so my potpourri.
Yeah, I'm done.
Are you finished?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the rest of the season.
Are you done though?
I know that that show is such a roller coaster. It's so up and down, and peaks and valleys.
Yeah.
But it has me excited.
Yeah, I'll watch it for Nicotero's work.
Yeah. The episode was exciting.
It was, and it was very action packed and very cool.
Yeah.
Plus things blowed up real good.
Mm-hmm.
My potpourri is 2 things. One is Tiny and I had a little mandate.
Hi,
Tiny. I'm waiting for your call. Anyway, we went and saw This Is Where I Leave You.
Yes, we did.
At the theater, and it was cool because we were the only people in the theater. Which wasn't that awkward. No, it was fun.
Why would it be awkward?
Because I don't know.
What?
I don't know. I don't know, Tiny.
Ugh.
Let's blame it on
Wait, what would be awkward?
He thought it was kind of awkward that it was just me and him.
Well, at some points, because
I see a movie with just Jake like every week.
No. We were the only people in the theater, completely.
Yeah, that happens every now and then.
Really? Well, I wasn't sure if like I wanted to kind of like say something to him during it, but like my brain is like, don't talk during a movie ever.
Yeah.
So I was conflicted there. But by the way, Tiny, that first scene with Jason Bateman when he comes home.
Yeah.
I wanted to lean over and whisper, "This is where he leaves her."
God.
Anyway, so This Is Where I Leave You. I wrote a review on ObsessiveViewer.com. You can check it out. Show notes link, all that. It was really, really funny and really heartfelt.
I liked it a lot.
I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Like one of the things that I connect to in movies is sibling dynamics, because I myself am a sibling, and I have like different relationships with my siblings at different times, and it's like such a tough relationship to depict on screen. And especially in a movie like This Is Where I Leave You, where there's 4 of them, 4 siblings grown, and they play off each other so well, and it's so great. You can read my full review on ObsessiveViewer.com. I just really liked it. And I also want to mention, before the movie, in the lobby of the movie theater, it was kind of amazing because I was in the bathroom, and then I came out, and I just saw like a crowd of people, and like they were yelling at each other. There was like one lady was yelling at another lady and screaming about how she let her kid in the movie or something. And they are just screaming their heads off at each other. And I thought that they were going to come to blows. And I felt so awkward.
People were holding them back and stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I felt so awkward as I recorded video on my phone. But I felt so awkward for the like teenage movie theater employee that came up, because he's like I was my senior year of high school. I worked in a movie theater, and like I don't know what the hell I would have done. And he just kind of slowly sunk into the crowd in between these 2 women, and he's just kind of like slowly and awkwardly kind of pulling them apart, and it was so uncomfortable. But then they eventually gravitated toward the front of the theater, and they were still yelling. And then eventually it kind of died down, and one left. I put like a 10-second video on YouTube of it. But anyway, because like an idiot, I loaded Snapchat instead of my video recorder on my phone.
Idiot.
I know. Anyway, and an addendum to that story is that at the building that I work in, one of the employees of the building is also like one of the assistant managers at that theater, and I've been working day shift now for a few weeks, and he was like in the lobby by my desk, and like he like came up to me and was like, "Hey, were you at Regal last week?" I was like, yeah I was. And then he's like, "Yeah, that fight thing?" I was like, "Yeah, what was that about?" And then he was like, "Yeah, I guess one of the ladies paid for a bunch of kids, a bunch of her like her nephews or something, to go see an R-rated movie or something, and someone didn't like that or whatever, and that's why they argued." But then he was like, "But yeah, I was reviewing the video footage, and I was like, hey, I know that guy." I was like, "Yeah." So I thought that was kind of funny. Yeah. Mike, have you seen This Is Where I Leave You?
No, it's on my list. I kept wanting to see it, but it's been hard to kind of sneak in movies.
Right.
Busy movie night schedules and just other things like that.
Yeah, I think you'll really like it.
I think I will too. I'm excited to see it.
Oh yeah,
Adam
definitely.
Driver.
Oh, Adam Driver's amazing.
So good.
And his character is like he's like a destructive character. Like he's kind of constantly stirring stuff up, stirring up conflict between the siblings. And it could have been such a it could have derailed the movie.
Yeah.
Like he could have been such a cartoonish character, but he plays it with such a like kind of a fun-loving kind of sincerity, and he has like these moments where he's very heartfelt and touching. The scene where he's talking to Tina Fey, he's telling Tina Fey about her influence on him, pretty much, and it's just I was like, oh man, that hits me right in the feels.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a really good movie.
It's good.
Yeah, and my other thing I wanted to bring up really briefly is I recently watched The Conjuring again, which I watched last year. I watched last year at a drive-in. That we arrived to the drive-in late, and we sat we were parked in a place that wasn't optimal for the radio wave transmission to play in the car, so it was kind of staticky and kind of weak.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was just like
everything went wrong.
Yeah, everything went wrong. That was a horrible, horrible experience. Yeah. Anyway, so I didn't really connect to it the way that a lot of people seem to, because I think, Mike, didn't you say that you really liked it?
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
Yeah. So I figured, okay, well, Annabelle's out. I'm going to, revisit The Conjuring and then go see Annabelle, which I still haven't done, but I will eventually. I liked it a lot more. A lot more, actually. Really cool, effective scares. The clapping scene was really good.
Yeah.
Both of them, all of them. And it was just a really cool possession haunted house movie. And it's a subgenre that I'm kind of a little weak on, I guess.
Yeah.
So it was nice to experience that.
Weak as in your depth of knowledge?
Or
breadth of knowledge, I guess.
Breadth of knowledge and interest in.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So it was a refreshing movie for me to watch.
James Wan is the director, correct?
Yeah.
He blew me away. His directing in that.
Oh my god, it's so good.
Like, I thought the movie was good. I thought it was okay. I liked it. But man, I could not take my eyes off the screen because of the way he shot that movie.
Oh, it's amazing.
It almost makes me interested. Almost interested in the new Fast and Furious movie.
Wow.
Yeah. I think we should do a James Wan retrospective next October.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Isn't that like 4 movies?
No, he's done a lot. He's done quite a bit. He's kind of a reigning champ of horror right now, isn't he? Sort of. He's kind of horror's go-to
for like
guy.
4 movies.
Yeah, and he had a bunch of or like a few like lesser movies. Dead Silence is one of them.
And then did he do the Insidious movies, both of them?
Maybe.
He, as the director, yes, he did.
Okay. Yeah. And did he do
Saw, Dead Silence, Death Sentence, Insidious, The Conjuring, Insidious Chapter 2, and Fast and Furious.
Sounds like we got ourselves an episode, guys.
We could do one episode.
It's okay.
Probably.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's not going to be a 4-part dissection of James Wan. Yeah. Speaking of which, there's dissecting a person.
The number one Shocktober. I'm proud of that. I'm sticking to it.
I just want everyone to hear how much he's laughing at himself.
It's terrible.
That was good. It was good. I appreciate it. I like that. You're fired. Anyway, no, that was good. Speaking of which, later this month they're doing the 10th anniversary Saw re-release in theaters thing.
Oh.
Are you guys gonna go see it?
I might have to.
Are you guys gonna go see Saw?
Did you see the scene in Saw where he uses the saw to saw his leg off?
I think it was called The Guy Who Had to Cut Off His Foot. Simpsons joke.
No, it's on Halloween, and I'll be having Halloween festivities.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So that kind of sucks.
I might. We'll see.
Sure.
By the way, we had trouble getting the rights to show Halloween for Shocktober in
we
Irvington.
had so many trouble.
And that's fine. Night of the Living Dead's going to be awesome.
Oh, yeah.
But if you go to HalloweenMovies.com, you can basically request to have Halloween shown in your town.
Okay,
now.
like a kind of like how like
Crowdfund or Kickstarter type thing, sort of.
I think so. I don't know. I mean, I didn't look into the details. I just laughed at the irony.
Yeah. Is it kind of like the what is it? The Paranormal Activity, like see it first in your city kind of thing?
No, it's like you can request to have a showing. Like
probably if you get enough people.
If you talk to these people, they will show it.
Is it Trenco's International? Because those people, those pleasant people, put me on the phone. I was on the phone for a month. Like I called like nearly daily for like a month, and every time I was like, "Oh no, the guy that handles that isn't in." And finally, I was like, "Yeah, I've been calling for a while," and then they put me on hold, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, our rights don't allow us to have it shown for one night events."
Yeah,
I'm like, "Oh cool, all right, nice."
That's lame.
Yeah, I hated it.
Maybe next year. We'll try to get him showed here.
Yeah.
And we can sponsor it or something.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, any other potpourris?
Not for me.
No, I think that about does it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
I think that about does it.
Every time.
Every single time.
Every time.
Seriously, I really need to just pre-record something.
Yeah. Or just memorize it.
No, Tiny, stop it. Stop it, Tiny. As always, thank you for listening to the Obsessive Viewer podcast. Please check out Mike and our friend Dustin's musical endeavor. It's as good as it gets. It's the Something Old EP. You can find that on Bandcamp and then links in the show notes, all that stuff. Thank you to Loud Like for providing our awesome opening theme music. Their first EP is called Mistakes We Must Make and features our theme song and a clips of events. You can find it on iTunes and a bunch of other places, links in the show notes. Make sure to rate and review them and us on iTunes, and As Good As It Gets. Are you guys on iTunes, Mike?
We are not. No, just Bandcamp. We want it to be free.
Oh, that's true. You can't do free on iTunes?
I don't know. Maybe.
Huh. Yeah.
YouTube
Anyway.
did it.
No, yeah. Anyway, please like our Facebook page at facebook.com/theobsessiveviewer and follow each of us on Twitter. You can find us at obsessiveviewer, at obsessivetiny, and at I am Mike White, respectively. You can also check out the blog at obsessiveviewer.com, which, like I mentioned before, I reviewed This Is Where I Leave You. I'm doing episode reviews of Boardwalk Empire. Only 2 episodes left, and I think me and Tyler are going to record a end of series episode that I'm really excited about. Yeah, also check out our sister site at obsessivebooknerd.com. It's book reviews and commentary on the evolving world of reading. Also check out Tiny Side Project, thesecularperspective.com. It's a podcast dedicated to the thoughtful and intellectual debate between religion and secularism and how they interact and intertwine in the world today. We just recorded a nice heathen hodgepodge episode that should be going up in
Probably November, first week of November.
Probably first week of November. We targeted Joshua Feuerstein.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, and then finally, if you have any thoughts on the podcast that doesn't
that
fit,
guy.
Oh my god, dude,
Yeah.
I hate him.
Ooh, I'm sorry to interrupt your
I
thing.
don't like him. I won't say I hate him. Yeah, that guy.
I hate him.
Yeah, Fred Durst, James. What's his name?
Kevin James.
Kevin James.
Kevin James.
Mush
Love child.
together. Yeah. If you have any thoughts on the podcast or suggestions for future topics that don't fit into a tweet or Facebook, whatever, you can email us at podcast@obsessiveviewer.com or email us individually at matt@obsessiveviewer.com, tiny@obsessiveviewer.com, and mike@obsessiveviewer.com. And I think that about does it, guys.
Awesome.
Also, come to Shocktober in Irvington.
Please.
The Irving Theater,
Yeah.
October 17th, 6 p.m., $10 at the door, $8 if you have a ticket from the Irvington Ghost Tours. It's all donated to Irvington Historical Society.
Yep.
So, yeah.
See you guys there.
Yeah. See you guys there.
Looking forward to it.
Me too. Oh, I'm so
Should be
nervous.
good.
Yep.
All right. Well, good job. That's it. I'm all over the place, man.
A little bit.
Yeah. It's first shift. It's me being on first shift is making me weird, and me drinking.
Yeah, because you weren't weird before.
Yeah, that's right.
I was completely calm and collect for every time that I had to redo the intro.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks, guys.
Noise.
Noise!
Oh, man. I would lose my too if I met Stephen King.
Oh,
I kind of don't want to.
I'd
for
lose
that
my
reason.
my piss, my all bodily fluids. No, I'm serious. And-
Stephen King.
oh God, now he's gonna get a restraining order against me.